From BYU stunning Colorado this weekend to Arizona State stunning TCU, Utah elite, and Iowa State elite. Absolute cinema. This is Locked On Big 12.
You are Locked On Big 12, your daily podcast on the Big 12 Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome into Locked On Big 12. I'm Drake Toll from America's #1 Big 12 podcast, Locked On Big 12. Thank you for making this show your first listen every single day. This was an incredible weekend in Big 12 football, and I can tell you exactly why. Santa Claus won. We are going to begin with a completely wild synopsis of every single game that was played on Friday and Saturday. Then, if you lost, like West Virginia and Oklahoma State, I have good news for you. I was really appreciative of your fan bases, and I think that you're changing the tide of a conference and helping us be more relevant across the country. I'll explain. Then do not go anywhere. Instant, immediate. Here's what I had to say in the minutes following BYU's stunning win against Colorado. I thought this was certainly the biggest win for the Big 12 this weekend, and I will explain why. Because again, Santa Claus is alive. If you hit subscribe, I get to keep my job. So what I mean by Santa Claus being alive, what we need in this league are for teams to win and continue winning. What we need are brands like Arizona State to have success. Houston to win a game out of conference, at least win, even if it's clunky. Iowa State, who is top 15, to get the job done at home. BYU, who's top 25, built a national brand as a top 15 team last year to win. For Cincinnati, they can become a sleeper team. For Kansas State, they can get back in the saddle, maybe win 6 or 7 games. For Baylor, they still have an opportunity to go 10-2. At least that's what head coach Dave Aranda said. And for Utah, they should be, listen to me, a top 25 team. When in Santa Claus, the movie, Tim Allen, there were 3 of them. When in Santa Claus, Tim Allen accidentally murdered the national icon, he had to become Santa Claus. So if you are a school like BYU that last year you beat Kansas State in the middle of the season, you were Tim Allen, and you were the assassin that got the job done against Old St. Nick. From there, you must eat the cookies and give out the toys. You must be good. The country's looking at you because if we have a bunch of 6-6 teams, it doesn't work. We need a bunch of 10-2 teams. For Arizona State, they had the brand last year of a team that went to college football playoff. Against TCU, you get down 17-0, but no one in the country is going to talk about that. Instead, they'll talk about, Arizona State might be good again. Arizona State's good enough to enter our top 25. That is where we as a league will win when Sam Leavitt is good. For Houston, you remain that big fat U word, and that word is undefeated. The fact that Houston has not lost a game yet this season is massive for the Big 12 because the second you do, your record is diluted. Your strength is diluted. The conference is diluted. For Houston, Connor Wegman going 20 for 36 didn't look really good. I watched this game, every single play, had a couple too many cervezas toward the end because I was like, wow, this game is drunk. What if I had a couple beers? I did. And I was like, I can't believe what I'm watching right now. And it was awesome that Houston got the win against Oregon State. Like, I don't even want to give you a synopsis. Throw up in my mouth. The game sucked. I don't want to give you a synopsis of it, but it was good that we won. It was good that Arizona State was able to beat up TCU's offensive line and prove again that a brand we already know is up there. Iowa State silencing Arizona. The thing is, if you're an Arizona fan, I am more than happy for Arizona to be good. But what we need as a conference, the biggest win for us as a conference, is if our teams in the top 25 are teams that have a brand like Iowa State stay undefeated and win by as big a margin as possible. What's wild to me is the disrespect we'll get from a game like this. And that disrespect will be like, Arizona's just not good. No, they are. Noah Fafita is good. Iowa State pummeled a good football team at home at Jack Trice Stadium with a great crowd. Vegas told me this was a 3-point game going in. And Rocco Becht didn't even play that spectacular. If you watch the game, 20 passes, didn't need to throw that many times. He was good. He was not as good as I've seen him this season. It's funny. He had, I think, 3 rushing touchdowns on negative 10 yards. So he's good when it counts. And ultimately, the offense only had 111 rushing yards. The defense of Iowa State just pummeled Arizona to death in this game. And that shows that I think they can win a college football playoff game because of how good their defense is. By the way, and you'll see this in my power rankings tomorrow, I'll pose this question. Is Iowa State the best team in the Big 12? They very well could. You told me before this game Arizona was good. It was a 3-point line. I would not be shocked if Iowa State is the best team in the Big 12. And Texas Tech is still a top 10 caliber team, but Iowa State might be in that same boat. I'm crawling up to this BYU game. For Baylor, you avoided embarrassment. That's awesome. Kansas State, you avoided embarrassment. That's awesome. That's how I deduce those games. For Cincinnati, what if you're a player in the Big 12 now? At 3-1, looking at who you have down the stretch of the schedule, Iowa State's tough, but it's at home. UCF is a win for you. Oklahoma State's a win for you. Like, even if you lose that Iowa State game at 5-2, playing Baylor at home, you can win that game 6-2 even. Now, we're talking about possibly top 25. Are they back? Scott Satterfield and Cincinnati. That's what beating Kansas does. Now that you've beaten Kansas, though, you can't start losing games you're not supposed to. You can't lose to UCF. You have to continue winning. You have to become Santa Claus. BYU, Colorado, we'll get to in a second. Utah, West Virginia, same thing. If Utah loses this game, if Utah plays it 20-17, we're all going, that's not good. But Devin Dampier looked really solid. 21 for 26, 237 yards, 4 touchdowns. He had a couple touchdown passes that were just darts, like 20 yards out, darts to his guys. Defensively, West Virginia, once again, I think in half their games, over half their games now? Yeah. Their 3 losses, they've failed to score more than 14 points. That's not good. They were 6 for 13 as a team throwing the football. But running the ball, 48 for 261, 48 carries, 261 yards. It was just, you were down the whole game. You know, your defense had to have held Utah to 20 points for you to be able to run the football and run it effectively to win this game. You couldn't. But Utah winning is good for Utah, because hopefully we get a huge matchup between the Utes and the BYU Cougars in a couple of weeks, and that's why it was so crucial for BYU to win. If you lose this game, Colorado is 3-2. Okay, that's not sexy. BYU's 3-1, not sexy. No one cares about 3-1 teams in the Big 12. No one cares about 3-2 teams in the Big 12. And I'll deep dive into this game later on. But this is a huge win for the Big 12 Conference to keep Santa Claus alive. If there are little ears around you, the children are listening, please understand this one thing. Santa is real. Santa is within all of us. And Santa is your dad's favorite college football team. Or your mom. 8% of my listener base is female. 9. It's growing. How neat is that? BYU beating Colorado, even in ugly fashion, the way Georgia Tech was able to beat Wake Forest. The way that we see ugly wins week in and week out. Like LSU struggled with La Tech. Okay, Tennessee struggled with Mississippi State. That is only going to help our conference when you add a tick into the win column. It doesn't really matter how you do it necessarily, but when you add a tick in the win column. Now, a close loss against Colorado looks a lot better than a close loss against West Virginia. West Virginia is bad. I'm sorry, West Virginia fans. Probably the last team, second to last team in the Big 12 right now. But I'm looking at a Big 12 conference that sits in a very good spot where Utah should be ranked, where Arizona State should be ranked, where BYU should be ranked, and obviously Texas Tech, obviously Iowa State. We need the top 5 or 6 teams to be in the top 25 and to continue winning. It creates bigger matchups for us and a better conference for us, and I think we're well on our way to that. Coming up, I have something nice to say, really nice to say about Oklahoma State, West Virginia, Kansas State, and some teams that you would never even think of, because I'm a nice guy. Locked On Big 12, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's show is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Why? Because the only way I could stay up for the end of the BYU and Colorado game was because of 5 Hour Energy. 5 Hour Energy is exactly what I take every Saturday so I can make sure I put a podcast out that covers every single game of the Big 12 Conference. And caffeine just got a flavor upgrade. 5 Hour Energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. Each 2-ounce shot packs the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee. What I love most about is how portable they are. Big taste, tiny shot. Take them in the airport. It reminds me of the good old days. Yeah. My most favorite flavor is their it's the shoot. It's like a strawberry lime infusion. That's exactly what it is. It's the infusion. It's 2 a.m. on the East Coast. Enough of boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5 Hour Energy shots. Get the favorites you love. Be bold. Try something new in-store, online, 5hourenergy.com or Amazon today. 5hourenergy.com or go to Amazon and do it today. 5 Hour Energy. This is weird, kind of random, but I want to take time to have a conversation that I don't think any other Big 12 podcaster is going to have. Anybody who probably covers your favorite team may not say this, but for me, I said it like last weekend. I get so fired up to be able to talk about the Big 12, to be able to have a conversation about a conference that when I first started this show was on its last leg, was trying to survive in college football. And now we are thriving to the point that I can tell you for the next 8 minutes about West Virginia, about Oklahoma State, about Kansas, about schools that really, can I peel back the curtain a little bit here? Can I be honest? Can you and I have a real conversation? Those teams aren't very good right now in football. West Virginia is not very good at football. Oklahoma State's not very good at football. Kansas State is not very good at football. But what I saw from those programs on Saturday blew me away, and it was this. This is from Twitter. Wandering Poke posts a picture of the stadium probably 15 minutes before game time, and it's about 70% full. It says, I'm truly disappointed in the Cowboy faithful today. I thought we were loyal and true to the school and the players, not a coach. Boss Hog, you just posted a picture of every Saturday in Waco, Texas. You just posted a picture of the hot side of Boone Pickens Stadium, where it's still 70% full, and said, I'm disappointed in this fan base. I want to take you to Fort Worth, Texas on a usual Saturday. Now, look, Baylor fans can't make an excuse. I'm like, oh, well, it was hot. TCU fans can't make it, well, it was warm. Why don't we go to Morgantown? Voice of Morgantown tweets this one out, where it is raining. And West Virginia fans, arguably the second worst team in the Big 12 this year. No quarterback, offensive line has struggled a ton. They are 85% full in an atmosphere that does not have to be. Where I'm getting with this, I can take you to Starkville, Mississippi. I can take you to Nashville, Tennessee. I can take you to Fayetteville, Arkansas on any given weekend in SEC play and not show you the passion that the Big 12 has collected. And yes, there are fan bases that must get better, particularly in Texas, Houston, TCU, Baylor. Even when top 25 teams come to town, Baylor couldn't sell a stadium out for Arizona State a couple of weekends ago. TCU against SMU, that crowd was porous in the upper decks, and their excuse was it's hot. And look, I'm not here to crap on your teams. I'm here to commend the spirit and the heart of the Big 12. I'm here to commend West Virginia fans, Kansas State fans, to commend the teams that lost this week, to commend the teams that have been losing this season, but their fan bases still showed up. Mississippi State can take notes of that. Missouri can take notes from that. Vanderbilt, SEC schools. May I go through the list of the Cals and the USCs, of the UCLAs in the Big Ten? That are fighting this exact same demon. They can't put butts in seats. The Rutgers is not even that bad this year. The Marylands that could rip a page out of the book of an Oklahoma State fan who's ticked off with a crowd that is by and large normal. It exceeds expectations at UCLA, is normal at Maryland. And honestly, to call out a couple of Big 12 fan bases, is normal at Baylor. The fact that fans are upset with this showcases the heart of the Big 12. Look, I've been to some of these cities. I've been to most of the Big 12 cities. Ames, Iowa. Yeah, man. Great beer. Good little bars. Pretty good food, too. Great tailgate scene. But on a Saturday, what's the one thing you want to be doing? Iowa State football. You go to Oklahoma State, Stillwater, Oklahoma, Eskimo Joe's, and then Oklahoma State football. And that's the beauty of the Big 12 and the amount of college towns that we have that eat, sleep, and breathe this thing. Heck, the crowd in Colorado, the crowd in Boulder, what that looked like for a 2-2 Colorado team. Dion has changed the culture and the economy of Boulder, Colorado. How honored I am to cover a league where fans are upset because the stadium is 80% full, where fans are upset because 85% of your fan base for a team that is bad still showed up. It doesn't matter about a player. It doesn't matter about a coach. It doesn't matter about an administrator. It doesn't matter about the video board, the pyrotechnics, the fireworks. None of that matters. What matters is showing up for West Virginia football. What matters is showing up for Oklahoma State football. And I think it's something we take for granted. It's something we can take for granted. Look, this is off the beaten path for me, too. I'm not in saying that other Big 12 podcasters aren't going to have this conversation. It shouldn't be a dig at them. This is kind of a niche thing. But for me, and I mentioned this a ton when I talk about West Virginia specifically, I grew up in Arkansas. And the one thing we did was Arkansas Razorback football. You worked hard. Like, I get to, how cool is it for me? And I don't take this for granted at all. I get to sit, there's an AC unit, a window AC unit in my office that pumps and keeps this place at 69 nice degrees. My dad shovels river rock for 10 hours every day. He builds decks. He remodels bathrooms. He's working in homes that aren't even remotely complete yet, and it's 107 degrees inside of those. I get to sit in the air conditioner and do this, where there are Oklahoma State fans who spend Monday through Friday putting air conditioners in buildings, right? For 10 hours a day. And their escape is a Saturday in Stillwater where they can go watch their favorite team play. I don't take that for granted. I don't think we should take that for granted. There are other schools in this nation, other fan bases in this nation, even in college towns like Fayetteville, Arkansas, like Starkville, Mississippi, like Columbia, I think, who just wish, like Waco, Texas, that look around and wish they had the passion and the care that some of these Big 12 fan bases do. I can tell you, I show up honored to talk about the Big 12. Somebody asked me recently, I bet you'd love to host Locked On SEC. No chance, buddy. Have to talk about the pompous Alabama and Georgia? There's nothing blue collar about that matchup anymore. We've ruined that matchup. We've ruined what we loved about college football at its roots here. And you think that I want to be knee deep in that? I mean, the Locked On SEC guy, I'm sure he does a really good job. And I would love to listen to his show. But I've got the perfect seat right here. I've got the perfect seat right here covering the Big 12 Conference. Because it's special. We do things that are genuinely, I believe, are different. And without the approval of the country, everybody hates us. They hate us because we're ornery. That's a word. And I love it. Coming up, BYU, Colorado. What a game in Boulder. Locked on Big 12. Oh, baby, today's show is brought to you by Quo. The reason today's show is brought to you by Quo is because they're one tool that helps make a huge difference for business owners. Formerly OpenPhone, now Quo. It's the same great business phone system you've heard me talk about before, but with a new name. Here's why it matters. Every missed call, money left on the table. You need customer consultation 24/7, and you want it to still be personal. That's where Quo comes in handy. I love how they, formerly known as OpenPhone, Quo, let your team share one number, collaborate on calls, texts, shared inbox, so no customers get left hanging. Their built-in AI agent is a game changer, can answer after-hour calls and capture leads and keep business moving. 90,000 businesses trust Quo, formerly OpenPhone. Get started for free. 20% off your first 6 months at QUO.com/LockedOnCollege, QUO.com/LockedOnCollege. And if you've got existing numbers with another service, Quo will port them over at no extra charge. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers. Today's show is also brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel's where I went to make money this weekend. Over $500 in one day on college football. Heck yeah, man. 2 days, because I took Houston live money line against Oregon State, and they won. The NFL season's also here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet. Put down $5. If it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love how FanDuel gives me so many ways to play, build parlays, try player props, even follow the live lines during the games. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. FanDuel.com to download that app today. Go to FanDuel.com and do it. Or download the app and do it today. Oh, BYU almost screwed their entire season, and primarily.
You are Locked On Big 12, your daily podcast on the Big 12 Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome to Locked On Big 12. I'm Drake Toll from America's #1 Big 12 podcast, Locked On Big 12. Thank you for making this show your first listen every single day. It's an emergency reaction. If you hit subscribe, I get to keep my job. I'm being told by multiple sources that God just loves BYU. I don't. I was promised by Utah fans. I was promised by contenders like Texas Tech that last season was a one-off for BYU, and if a team wins so many games by one score, there's no way they can replicate that and do it again. But lo and freaking behold, the worst possible game you could have imagined for BYU against Colorado on the road. really wasn't that bad, actually. And they won. I mean, stunning 24-21 against Colorado. It was immediately 14-0. Like I was popping my popcorn in the microwave, and I don't hit the popcorn button. Why would you hit the popcorn button? I hit the 2 minutes button. I do it for 2 minutes. Yeah, one piece is burnt. It's fine. It comes out. Oh my gosh, it's 14-0. But the resolve of BYU to win this game. Can I tell you a story, a parable, a fable, if you will, about a little team out east called Georgia Tech? That might be one of the top 15 schools in the country, who went on the road against Wake Forest, who is bad, say it with me, bad, and got a win 30-29 in overtime. And America said, whoo, that was close. BYU, conversely, in conference play, gets a win over now 2-3 Colorado and Deion Sanders, who, by the way, won 9 games last season and have a pretty formidable program. They're not bad. And then all of Utah fans, the rest of the Big 12 wants to point and laugh and say, ha, 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 ha. Maybe BYU's not as good as we thought they were. BYU played a close game last year against Oklahoma State. BYU played plenty of close games last year against 5-7 Utah. Plenty of close games last year that should not have been close. They still won 10 games. You can't take that away from them. And I cannot believe Bear Bachmeier, the true freshman quarterback, gets it done at Colorado. The defense of BYU is a thing of beauty. And the defense wasn't spectacular to start the game. You're going to get a bad taste in your mouth early on from giving up those 14 points. From there, you only gave up 7 the rest of the way. There are 45 more minutes in the football game than what Colorado needed ultimately to win this game. And Aaron Roderick was methodical. Can I tell you? I hope a woman loves me one day as much as that man loves a speed option on any and every down. I tweeted this out from the Locked On Big 12 account, and I think it holds true that, to me, the BYU offense, a great tight end, a pretty solid offensive line, by the way, a quarterback who is a centaur. The kid can run. He's like 220 pounds. A couple wide receivers that are elite. A running back that is elite. And only one running back. We need to fix the depth there, please. You can't have your other running back be the quarterback. But all of those things feel kind of duct taped together. They feel like pieced together here. But it works. I still wouldn't trust Aaron Roderick to babysit my kids. I still hope that Jay Hill's not sending him a very nice Christmas card. Maybe a couple dollars in the mail. But ultimately, when you win in conference play, you win in conference play. Iowa State played a close game a couple weeks ago against Arkansas State. Sometimes you go on the road in consecutive weeks and things aren't easy. 3 for 11 on third down, bad. You force Colorado into 3 for 9. That's not that bad. Colorado only had 291 yards. We're talking about a Deion Sanders who coached the Heisman Trophy winner last year, as well as one of college football's best quarterbacks. And you held Colorado. They only threw the ball 16 times. 16 times to the tune of 119 yards. They had 172 on the ground, which is abnormally good for Colorado, and their quarterbacks ran the ball well, and BYU has to fix that. But their defense is fun to watch. They close out the game with a turnover. The turnovers are the most important piece of how BYU was able to win games last year, special teams, turnovers, and ultimately, BYU's ability to run the ball, granted sometimes with weird, like, end around. Okay. Trap T. Double wing. Like, I don't know what Aaron Roderick's doing. It feels like, and it's weird after a win for me to, make fun, poke fun at the offensive coordinator. But does it ever feel like A-Rod calls a play, you're like, he's just sitting up there and he's like, I remember this one play we ran in 7th grade. We should run it. Trap T. And then the next play, you throw the ball 40 yards downfield, and Bear Bachmeier has a pretty darn good arm for a true freshman, by the way. And what I find hilarious is that Colorado's only defense on those balls was just tackle the receiver. Hope for the best. Tackle the receiver. Hope for the best. Bear Bachmeier, 19 for 27. That's pretty good. 179 yards. Not great. 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. That is solid. I'll take that. He is a professional and mature-looking freshman quarterback, and I don't think Colorado is necessarily a bad football team. I told you BYU would cover. BYU slipped in this game. They slipped in this game, and they still won. And they won in a hostile environment. I'll get into that in a second. BYU rushing. Bear Bachmeier, 15 carries, 98 yards. Oh, Bear Bachmeier's not even that good. Like, people are going to compare Bachmeier to Devin Dampier. Why? Because he is by the way, kind of bouncing around everywhere. Were the announcers just bad to you tonight? Why did they not know how to pronounce literally anyone's name? Why was that a thing? They just gave up on pronouncing people's names, like even Kalani Sitake. Like, what are we doing here? Read a book. LJ Martin, only 15 carries. He looked kind of banged up. It's like, okay, hey, whoa, don't hit him that hard. Cody Hagan, his 1 carry, and around 32 yards for a touchdown. BYU receiving. Chase Roberts is that guy. If I could give, and I know it's not okay, but if I could give him a kiss on the cheek, if I could give him, I'd give I'd give him a little peck. I'd go lip to lip. Like that guy, all of you should feel that way. It's like a European thing. It's allowed. Like that is a guy, Parker Kingston to Chase Roberts to Carson Ryan. Like those are guys that make this BYU offense good. It still feels like it's oddly pieced together. Like why is there no cohesion? I don't know. But it works and you win. Jack Kelly. Man. I hope my son, I've never met Jack Kelly. I have no idea how he is as a person. I feel like he's pretty solid. If my son is like Jack Kelly one day, I'm in business. And then Caden Salter just wasn't very good. BYU, after the first couple drives, had it in a blender. BYU controlled time of possession, 33 minutes in this game. Colorado running the football again was an issue. Micah Welch had a very good game. BYU has to, you can't walk away from this game saying, oh, we played so well. Oh, I'm so confident. No, not whatsoever. But you won? And you held Colorado to 21 points. And granted, you only scored 24, but that's kind of going to be the blueprint for BYU this season. I think BYU is better than Houston. At the same time, the formula this year is by and large for BYU going to be similar to Houston. Suffocate you with the defense, and if our offense only scores 10, but you score 9, take that. Also, and I'll probably address it at some point this week, if someone went to a Notre Dame game and said, F the Catholics, if someone went to do we have, there are Jewish universities, but they said, F that community. If they threw out slurs for a faith, for a denomination, F the Baptists, F the Presbyterians at Presbyterian, it's a college in South Carolina, there would be insurmountable fines. The campus would shut down. It would be bad. So I think when schools do F the Mormons, which is also funny to me, and it's not funny, I shouldn't make light of it, but it's funny to me, there aren't even Mormons. It's the Book of Mormon. They're not Mormons. When that happens, the Big 12 has to have reprimand. And multiple people reporting pre-game that it was a huge issue. The student section was a massive issue. In-game, just yelling things that were against an entire faith and religion. That's when things go too far. That's when you can't allow it. And as the Big 12, you've got to put the hammer down. In support of one of your member institutions, BYU, you have to put the hammer down. I hope the conference does. You won this game, which is wild. There was definitely a point in time where I was like, I don't know. It could have been 21-3 there. Colorado got the ball up 14-3. That would have been panic, lizard. But no. BYU got the win. We covered a whole lot more this week. If you hit subscribe, you get to keep my job. Where will BYU be in the power rankings? It's coming tomorrow. Locked On. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. Dose Grande.